Hey guys, it's Maggie and I am back today, and I apologize in advance. I'm still sick. This is the longest that I've been sick in years. I don't know what's going on. It's super frustrating, but I do have to rally because we've been dealing with some ostomy issues over here, and I don't care if you've had your stoma for 2 months or 20 years. When you can't rely on your ostomy bag, how do you even live life, right? It leaves you unsettled because you feel like you can't do anything if your bag is going to leak or malfunction. And I've had a little bit of both right now, so I'm going to share more about that in detail. It is coming off of that major leak that I had while outside of the house. That was so frustrating, and now I'm just having continued issues. So I'm going to share about my troubleshooting process too. I thought that might be helpful for those of you who are dealing with ostomy issues. Let's see if we can figure out what's going on. Do I think we're going to resolve the issue today? Probably not, but we're going to do our best. Before we jump into it though, I do want to thank the sponsor of today's video, which is Wildgrain. They have been fantastic this past couple of weeks as we are fighting off whatever this bug is and just struggling at home. Wildgrain is the first bake from frozen subscription box for sourdough breads, artisanal pastries, as well as fresh pastas. And while I love that it arrives right to our door, super helpful, especially when I'm feeling sick like I have been, or life is just a little too hectic to get to the store, I really love the selection and the availability because I'm so used to going to the store and them not having what I need. You build your own box with the amount that you want and customize it for you. So you can choose the classic box, you can choose the plant-based version, or even a gluten-free version, which I know so many of my viewers might be interested in. I'm such a huge fan of sourdough bread, and I've learned that so is everybody else in my town because every time we go to our store's bakery, they're almost always out of sourdough bread. I almost never come home with a fresh loaf, and now I don't need to worry about that because I'll always have a fresh one ready to go in my freezer from Wildgrain, along with a number of other really delicious items. I find that I digest sourdough the best, and because Wildgrain uses simple ingredients and a slow fermentation process, I really notice it. I want to feel good after eating really good food, and sometimes that isn't always the case. They make it easy for me to meal plan too because I'm not going to the store finding that they don't have what I need available. I'm just going online, selecting the items that I want, no problem, and they arrive to my door. Plus, it's fun to look at what they have. They're constantly adding new items and seasonal items. I have to show you. Oh my gosh, I was so excited with the one item. I'll show you in a second. But because it comes frozen, it really gives me flexibility with meals too. I love to meal plan. It really is helpful with a little girl. But I'm also noticing you just have to be flexible with your meals because sometimes things pop up and you have to adjust what you're going to eat that night. Because everything is ready in 25 minutes from frozen, like take it out of the freezer and bake it, I can adjust our meals as needed. They also donate 2 meals for every order to a nonprofit of your choice, so that is really cool. No extra cost. Okay, so for the item I had to show you, I had to share their apple cider donuts with you. I have been craving a little bit of a fall treat, and this just hit the spot. It was so good, so easy to bake, first of all, no problem putting it in the oven from my freezer, and it tasted like I just walked into a really expensive bakery and got fancy donuts. Like, they were so good. We ate them within, I think it was 2 days. They were gone. They were gone. You gotta make sure you get them though before they sell out. I mean, they had me in such a fall mood, ready for all the fall activities. It was so good. If you want to check out Wildgrain, get all of your sourdough goods, your bakery items, your pastries, things like that, and check out their seasonal items. So good. Make sure to check out the link in my description below and use the code LetsTalkIBD for $30 off of your first order. Plus, you will get free croissants for life. That is so cool. Yeah, you definitely have to check them out. Don't miss out on their seasonal items. I'm in love. I'm in love. I love my bread items. I love my sourdough. And now I don't have to worry about how I'm going to get them when my store is out because I've got Wildgrain. Thank you again to Wildgrain for sponsoring this video. Such yummy and delicious stuff. I'll probably have some for lunch actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Whatever. Let's talk about what's been going on. So I kind of mentioned in another video how I had a major leak. I was at my brother and sister-in-law's house, walked in, just kind of like in a fluster because my bag had a huge leak and I had to go deal with it right away. Don't even know how my clothing survived, to be honest with you, but it did. It made it through. Since then, basically, I have been dealing with a couple of issues. The first one being leaks. And they aren't quite like that first leak that happened outside of the house. That one seems to have been maybe my stoma got caught behind the flange and my output was a little bit thicker, so maybe we just had a lot of pancaking and I think it snuck through. And I had a leak in a very particular issue. It was kind of like up this way. It wasn't a full leak all the way around. So I think that was a one-off. But since then, I feel like the bags just are not sticking to me. I've talked about my ostomy supply situation basically since I started this channel, like just what I've been using. I have switched products so many times. We just recently did another product switch. I went from the Convatec Natura moldable flange and the mini like pouch, non-drainable pouch system. I really liked that. I would drain out of the ring of the bag. So I'll show you my ostomy right now. I have my stoma cloak on just because I feel like the bag is not as pretty as the one I just switched to. But I did have to go to this bag because I couldn't get the other one to stick to me. I was having so many leaks. So what I would do was I would take this non-drainable bag. You'll see there's no way to drain it at the bottom. Remove it from the flange because it is a two-piece and drain out of the ring. And that worked really well for me for years. I did that with Coloplast, I did that with Hollister, and I did that with Convatec. But I had a few issues with this particular flange. I just felt like it wasn't working for me as well as it used to. And one of the issues I had was my output is a little bit more forceful and sudden. So trying to empty my ostomy bag when you have to remove the whole thing off of the flange and your stoma is exposed, we were getting some messes, okay? I couldn't really control my stoma's output. That was frustrating. It made me feel a little bit gross, and you don't want to feel that way with your ostomy. Ostomies can be very, very clean. You just have to have a system that works for you well. So I wanted to switch for that reason. I also feel like the bag is a little crinkly, okay? And during intimate moments, that's not fun. That becomes the focus, at least for me. So that was another reason I wanted to switch. And also, this bag's only been on for 3 days, and the pilling of the fabric, the way that it holds onto water, all of that was just like, ugh, I just feel like it doesn't look nice even. Normally this flange would have a fabric border. I cut it off and put flange extenders because I feel like that works a little bit better, holds it on better for me. But those flange extenders get peely, and you can see at the top here, that just doesn't look very nice to me. I don't know. So I switched to Convatec's new Esteem Body Bag, and I've talked about them in the past, really liked them, worked really well for me. But it is a drainable, so that was a whole new adjustment for me. I adjusted well to it, okay? I feel like I did really well. I feel like this is a very easy to clean end of the bag. I use a little squirt bottle. Let me get that for you. I use this little squirt bottle, pop this guy open. This is a fresh bag, so I'm struggling a little bit here. Plus, it's not the right way. Okay, hold on. There we go. I feel like I have my system down when it's hanging on me, but when it's upside down and flipped around, I don't know. So anyway, clean the bottom with a little squirt bottle. Works great. Everything is fantastic. But it doesn't seem to be sticking. Okay? I use a couple of different rings. In the past, I've used the Econ Seal. This is what I probably use the most often. And that's what I decided to use with this bag. But it seems to be breaking down super fast. I don't know what the issue with that is. This, along with the flange itself, both of these will break down within an hour on me. That was not the case a month ago. I have been wearing these for at least a month now, and the first few bags worked really great. I got a long wear time, but then suddenly it's like my output was breaking down the bag, and that could be an output issue. I started to think about what I was eating. Is there more acidity to what I'm eating? Maybe that would play into why this would be breaking down. Can't think of anything. I don't think GI-wise anything's different for me. So that was kind of my first troubleshooting thought. So then I thought, okay, let me switch to the Ostoform seal. This one is actually designed not to break down as easy. And the flange of the bag here, the wafer part of it, didn't stick to this, which is crazy. I had a leak between the ring and the flange itself within a very short period of time. I found that it didn't break down as easy because the Ostoform is designed not to, so that was helpful. But it's like this, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with my output, if something is impacting that, or this just isn't as sticky. So I'm trying to think, okay, what's going on here? The other day was our anniversary. Woke up to a leak at 5 a.m. Not a full leak, just really itchy skin around my stoma. And that's what tells me there is a leak. It hasn't reached the outside of the flange yet, but there is a leak likely happening or starting. So I got up at 5 a.m., ripped my bag off. I was so ticked off too because, okay, not ticked off, that's not the right thing to say, but just like annoyed at all the timing of things. Novi was fast asleep. She was knocked out cold. And I thought, if I could just sneak out, take 5 minutes to change my bag real quick and come back in, hopefully she won't wake. And of course she woke. And Zach comes out because she's very upset. Zach comes out and he's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I just need 5 minutes to deal with my bag. It's leaking." It then proceeded to leak 2 more times. I wore that bag throughout the day and I could feel that it was not sticking well. We went out to dinner for our anniversary, and then we came home. We were watching a movie and I felt the itchiness and I'm like, "I just changed you this morning. What is going on?" So I peeled that bag off and I had to, as Novi's like about to go down to sleep for the night, and I was like trying to rush because I needed to get her in the bathtub to get to sleep. She was cranky, and noticed that the wafer and the ring itself had broken down greatly. So that's annoying. Changed the bag, got it done, got Novi to bed. We start watching a movie and I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is not sticking to me at all. What is going on here? I kept pressing it down. I used heat. I even at one point used some adhesive to try and stick it better. It just, basically what happened was I had to change it again. I pulled it off and the ring and the wafer had broken down in the course of maybe an hour, hour and a half. That's not normal, right? So I am not really sure what's happening. I have tried a few different things, like the different barrier rings. I've tried the adhesive. I've tried really applying heat, tried using a hairdryer to warm up the wafer, really pressed it on well around my stoma, really spent some time pressing it around my stoma, and I can just feel it lifting off. So that night I got so frustrated and we went back to this guy, which has stuck for a few days, but even after I put this one on, I could feel that it wasn't sticking as well around my stoma. So I know, I don't think it's necessarily just the bag itself. I think that my output has something to do with it. Maybe it's too watery and it's sneaking behind the flange. Unfortunately, I'm out of any gelling sachets that you can put in your bag and thicken your output. So that's not an answer right now. But I do want to try something a little different. I got a different barrier ring. So that is my solution today. I think anytime that you have a leak, you have to think about, where is it happening? Is it happening in a specific spot? Is that specific spot a smooth part of your skin? Is it maybe divoted, where leaks can sneak under? Do you have to maybe try to flatten things out with different barrier rings or strip paste or tube paste? You can kind of adjust your skin, because it really is best to try and get a flat surface to adhere your bag to. I don't have any of that right now, and because there's not a leak happening in a specific area, it is just completely all the way around. I know that it's more of a sticking issue than it is maybe my skin being uneven. So I thought about this barrier ring. Convatex Econ Seal here is very soft. It will absorb a lot of your output and become very mushy. In the past, that's been totally fine for me. It's been okay, hasn't impacted the ability for the bag to stick fully to me. It kind of congeals. It can be a little bit messy to take off. I've noticed that too. Sometimes it just depends on what your output's doing and how much this has absorbed your output. When this has been on for a number of days, I notice it totally breaks down and like you really gotta scrub your skin. One barrier ring that I've never had that issue with is the 𝙗𝙪𝙥𝙧𝙀 ring. When I worked in the hospital, this was the ring that we had on hand for most of the patients. It's just what the hospital carried. It is a bit, I don't want to say thicker because I actually got the slim seals, Adapt Sarah Ring Slim, but it is definitely more solid. It doesn't break down as easy, and I noticed that this is the stickiest of many of the barrier rings that I've tried. Actually, Ostoforms is pretty sticky too. They're pretty comparable. But the 𝙗𝙮𝙯 and I would say the Bravo one by Coloplast, they're very... I never had luck with the Bravo one. That one really did not stick to me. I would say in terms of like softness, I think the Bravo one is maybe a little less soft than Convatex. This is the softest. This seems to be the hardest. So I thought, let's try this. I did get the slim one because this is a convex wafer. That might have something to do with it too. I don't usually use a convex wafer, but that's all that the Esteem Body is available in at this moment. It is a very soft convex. Generally, convex bags where they're kind of pushed out into you are meant for people with retracted stomas. I don't have a retracted stoma. It does retract occasionally, but in general, my stoma does hang over into the bag. But it is soft, so I thought that really wouldn't impact too much. Let me show you up close here. Can you, it's trying to focus on my face here. Can you see that? So, I don't know. We're gonna try mixing things up. We're gonna do the 𝙗𝙪𝙥𝙧𝙀 Slim Ring with the Convatec Esteem Body Bag. That is my next attempt at trying to fix things, okay? So, let's come over here. We've got a view of my lovely bag here. I'm going to remove that. Actually, let me get a little bit of toilet paper here. Protect your clothing, step number 1. That has not changed. Let me grab a little extra toilet paper to help clean my skin a little bit more. Everything else I've pretty much kept the same. So what we'll do is I'm gonna grab my fab little bag. Every time that I talk about these, people question, so I will put a link for the fab little bag below. This is a great sealable, odor resisting bag for you to dispose of your ostomy pouches in. There are 2 different versions of this. There's one that's a bit smaller, meant for tampons and things like that. I think that's how the company originally started. This is the Hygiene bag, meant for diapers and ostomies. So if you have kids too that are in diapers like I do, it's been very helpful for that on the go. I'm going to slide my ostomy bag into this. I'm going to use some of my adhesive remover and we'll peel the bag off. Yeah, see, this did it too. Now, if you are having some ostomy leaks, one really important thing to do is look at the wafer. Look at the wafer and see where it's leaked. You can kind of see that the ring here has been eaten away by my output. That's what's been happening. So, let's clean the skin really, really good. My skin doesn't look too bad, so that is a positive here. I like to use the toilet paper to wipe away most of the gunk first, and then I go in with an adhesive remover wipe to really get the skin clean. These work really well. And I've been using them for years. Okay, it's clean, clean, clean. There actually isn't too much gunk to remove, so that is a positive here. Okay, so got the skin all clean. Gonna go in with some generic Flonase to help my skin from reacting to any adhesive. I like using Flonase because it's super thin. It's like very thin, watery substance with a steroid in it. It helps my skin to not react to adhesives, which I have had issues in the past with. So now what I'm going to do is cut my flange. I probably should have done that to start with, but I'm going to cut my flange. And what I've really tried to hone in on right now is making sure that I get an accurate size. So, let me do this. I am pretty good at cutting my bags just by looking at my stoma and seeing, but I want to make sure I get the right size. See, my stoma grew. It grew as I was cutting this, and then it shrinks down. I have never had my stoma change size as much too. It like swells up a little bit here. So then I think, is something going on with my stoma? I don't think so. I don't have any symptoms. Okay, so then what I'm going to do, I've cut my flange here. I'm going to remove this backing. And let's just try it over our stoma. See, I feel like that's almost too small because it is a little tight around the stoma, but at the same time, my stoma will shrink down. And I've seen it do that, and then there will be a lot of skin showing. So I'm going to keep it as is. I don't know, guys. Struggling. So let's put this 𝙗𝙗𝙧𝙗𝙧 ring onto the bag. Just stretch it out. Yeah, that feels really sticky. I like that. It's almost harder to stretch out too, I think, than the Convatec one. Very carefully, let's put that. Try to match it up with the hole as best as possible here. I didn't do the best job at that. Gonna put some skin barrier on my skin here. I probably, gosh, do you see that? I just noticed that ring around my skin. I wonder if I have a little allergy to the paper or the fabric part of my moldable flange. I might. Because I cut off most of it, but that's exactly where some of it was sitting. Huh. There you go. That's annoying. But anyways, so let's let the skin dry after I put the skin barrier on. I'll place the bag on. I'm going to place a lot of heat, like press my hands, really push around the stoma to seal it. Here's the thing though. Here's the thing. That's not the only issue I've been dealing with this bag. And I've talked about the issue before of really struggling to get the end of these bags clean, any drainable pouch, but I've had the most success with this one. I feel like I can really get it cleaned well and close it up. Problem I've had with other bags is that it will still leak. No matter how much I clean it, once it's folded up, no matter how tight I fold it, how tight I get the Velcro on there, it will leak from the sides. And the first few bags, that did not happen at all. Then it started to happen a little bit. I took a small piece of toilet paper. I'll show you exactly how big. Like that big. Put it into the end of the Velcro pouch, folded it up, and that seemed to stop the leaking issue. I think sometimes my output is just too thin and it still sneaks through any tiny little crevice that it can, and it'll leak out the sides. But then, Friday, when I was having all these issues with my bag sticking, I had leaking along the entire edge of the fabric. So imagine this is all closed up, okay? It's all closed up. If it was sneaking through crevices, I would get a little bit of output here and a little bit of output there. That would be it. I had leaking across this entire part here. And that tells me that there were holes in the bag. And I actually have had that with a few of these bags. So that seems like a manufacturing problem. The really frustrating part is because we went out to dinner, I was wearing a light pair of jeans and it did leak through. So that's where the frustration comes in. If you cannot rely on your ostomy bag, you can't go on your anniversary dinner with your husband without your bag leaking onto your clothes. No matter how hard you try, whatever steps you take, is it worth it to use that bag, even if it looks really nice? What I think is really important in your troubleshooting process, if you have issues like that, make sure that you're keeping your supplies in the boxes that they come with. So that way you can note the lot number, and if there seems to be an issue that continues on, you can reference that lot number and see if maybe that lot has a problem going on, and you can report it to the company. So that's what I'm going to do. I know which box I took this out of, so I'm going to see, does this leak from here? Are there little tiny microscopic holes that are causing an issue? It's such a cute bag. I want it to work. Okay, my skin is dry. Let's try it. Let's try it. Let's put her on. My stoma is swollen. Come on. Suck in. Shrink, 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 because I know it will shrink, and if I cut this bag any bigger, it'll be too big. See, it just shrunk down, and now I can see more around my stoma. That is ridiculous. Does anybody else have that? I've never had that issue where it's constricted. Can you even, I don't even know if you can see. Like right here, you can actually see the barrier ring. Well, I'm just going to do my best, and we're going to push this on around my stoma as best as possible. I'm going to apply a lot of heat with my hands. Something else that I noticed, well, I didn't notice that my ostomy had some output, and I just put my hand in it. Oh, and it's all over the new bag. I feel like I'm struggling so much. It's not like I have enough going on in life already. But my ostomy is just being a pain in the butt. What was I saying? Oh, when it comes to this ostomy bag and its filter, I actually think the filter is amazing. It almost works a little too well. Because what I have noticed that adds to my leaking with my bag is when there is not any air in there. It's almost like it vacuum seals the bag to my stoma, and therefore the output kind of gets stuck around the top. I try adding, this is what I do, is I take my hair dryer here, put it on not hot, let's put it on cool. I will add air into my ostomy bag. Like that. I do this in the hopes that it just allows my bag to seal really well around my stoma without it vacuum sealing to my stoma, and the air it'll be out of my bag within about 5 minutes. So that doesn't really work. I have to keep adding air into it. Sounds really goofy. Sounds like a goofy problem to have, but I actually need it to keep a little air in there. It is helpful, otherwise you might have some issues with pancaking. So, okay, we're gonna let this sit, and we're gonna keep our fingers crossed that this works. That's kind of what I've been thinking about though when it comes to troubleshooting my bag. This is kind of what I've done throughout the years. Just being a new mom, it's hard to focus. It's hard to pay attention to your ostomy bag. You're bouncing a baby, you're trying to get stuff done around the house. There's so much going on, and it makes it hard to pay attention to what's going wrong with your ostomy bag. So I'm trying to do that now. Zach has Nova. I actually tried filming this earlier with her, and she was not having it. So that's what I'm talking about. Like, there isn't time to focus on your ostomy bag as a parent. So we're doing our best here, but I will keep you updated on how this goes. I'm really hoping that this works. Maybe just that change in barrier ring, maybe it being a little bit more of a harder ring, a more sticky ring, will do the trick. It won't break down as fast. I really like this bag. I want to make it work, but I do have enough supply of the other one to be okay. Because when it comes down to it, I just need a bag that sticks. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. Check out Wild Grain. Check out Wild Grain. They are fantastic, so delicious, and you'll get $30 off of your first order by going to my links. I'll make sure I put all the information on screen for you, as well as in the description bar below. Okay, keep my fingers crossed that this sticks. Let's go wash my hands, and I'll see you guys in the next. Bye, guys.
Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you are looking for a way to help support my channel, consider liking this video or even subscribing. You can also check out my store at LetsTalkIBD.shop. I have stickers and hoodies like these guys over here, just related to chronic illness and inflammatory bowel disease, something fun. And I also have a coupon code for my YouTube watchers. You could also become a member of my channel, like the wonderful people scrolling on screen here. They've become a member and they have access to videos a little bit earlier. It's a great way to support my channel, and really, just watching my videos means the world. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next.